Welcome back to NFL Conference Championship weekend. This is our DFS slate breakdown. We got a two-game slate to go through. We're going to go through, give you our favorite plays at each position, like always. Who wants to start us off with their favorite quarterback pick?
Rock the Rock. Rock the Rock.
Yeah, he's gonna be pretty popular this week, I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
I mean,
If I'm on him,
It's gonna
it's got to be
be
popular.
yeah, I think he'll probably be the most popular. It's gonna be hard to get really different, obviously, on these two game slates. Um, but I think he does have debatably the most upside.
No, Lamar always
I
has the
don't know.
most upside.
Yeah. I don't, I'm just so scared of the Chiefs defense, honestly. I could just also see them shutting down Lamar, containing him to the best that they can, and him just having to play running back and getting like 180 passing yards and like no touchdowns. I don't know. I'm
yeah,
kind of scared of Lamar this week.
I'm thinking full fade in Lamar. I don't think I want to touch him at all. And he's too expensive. I mean, he's the most expensive quarterback. The matchup's terrible. Their weapons are terrible. I mean,
Get Mark Andrews back, dude.
I don't care.
What are you talking about?
I
You guys are
I
crazy.
I just don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, I think he can get maybe the only issue that you'd run into is him getting on the ground with like I don't know,
Yeah.
like getting where like 13 carries for like close to 100 yards and a touchdown. But
That's,
even as
that's all he needs
quarterback,
to do. I mean, he put up 40 points last week throwing for 150 yards.
true.
Yeah,
But
that is what Lamar has to do, and it's like we saw Josh Allen do it last week, but the Chiefs have to kind of account, or the Chiefs had to account for Josh Allen's arm, I think, a little, and the weapons like Diggs as a wide receiver one. I understand he didn't like, but they have to account for him at least, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It's with Lamar, I don't know. I think they're able to focus on him quite a bit.
I think I'd rather take the Ravens receiving core than the Bills, sans Gabe Davis. Outside of Diggs, who, like, I'm taking Andrews over Kincaid.
Yeah, but Andrews is still. I understand he's a
Taking
full, but
Zay
he's
Flowers
going to be
over
banged
anyone
up.
but Diggs.
Mark Andrews, I don't think is
What do you
playing.
like, Nelson Aguilar? You're saying Nelson Aguilar?
Zay Flowers, I'm taking over anyone except for Diggs on the Bills team.
See, I'm
Yeah.
probably taking Diggs over Flowers. I'm taking Kincaid. I'm taking Kincaid Knox combo over
No,
Andrews,
I
like
disagree
a
with
banged
that.
up Andrews likely,
I disagree with that.
and Shakir over Aguilar.
OBJ.
The Chiefs are so good. Like,
OBJ like barely played last week. I don't know what they're doing.
yeah. He barely played all year. It was like he got paid like $500,000 per catch this year. It was such a waste of money.
But
But anyways, the Chiefs are so good, like in the flats, like on the sidelines. Like they're Trent McDuffie he's not gonna get
Sneed.
burned by Lamar. Like he's so good. I think they're gonna go into the game plan being like Lamar beat us through the air, completely give up the flats and like just shut down his running game because that's how you beat Lamar. The Browns do it all the time. That's why we have like one of the best records against the
You
Ravens.
did lose to him
Lamar,
this year,
so
but
what?
didn't you lose to him this year?
Probably
It
split.
was like a high scoring game, I think, or something, but I
Yeah.
think we lost.
But we do a good job of limiting Lamar on the ground because like we control the flat. So I don't know. I think Trent McDuffie does a good job of limiting him like from a slot corner position. I think they have really fast linebackers. So I'm just not on the Ravens offense
also
personally.
what I'll say is he can get his, but he's got to pay off 7,700. And you're
Yeah,
not
and it is a slate that money matters a decent amount.
yeah. So I mean, unless he gets 40 points again, which I don't think he will. I know Alex, you like the over in the high scoring game here. I don't know if they get 4 touchdowns. I don't know.
So I ran a bunch of lineups, and I actually projected Lamar for 25 fantasy points, which for a projection, that's pretty high. Like I have him at a 25 projection and a 38 ceiling. And I have Purdy, I have him projected for like 22 fantasy points. So three less than Lamar and a 32.5 ceiling, which is 5 points less than Lamar. And I'm still getting so much more Purdy because of just like other things in the lineup that it like allows you to get.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I think ownership on Purdy is going to be, he's for sure going to be the highest owned. So like you're
Yeah, I
getting
think
out
Lamar is going to be quite high too, though. I think it'll be
really.
Purdy, Lamar, Mahomes, Goff. But I think Lamar won't be like super far off from Purdy.
Hmm. All right.
I think it'll be like Purdy 35 to 40-ish%, and I think Lamar will be like 30, 35%.
What do you
And I
think
think
Mahomes is?
Mahomes and Goff are really low.
What do you think Mahomes' ownership is going to be?
15 to 20. And then Goff like
10 to
10,
15.
10, 12.
I don't think Goff's a bad play either,
I
honestly.
think Goff's an atrocious play.
I think they throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, but Purdy is $100 more, and he's going to just. I think Goff is going to like crumble this game.
Yeah. So are you playing Mahomes or no?
I'm all over Pacheco. Like I think that's how they're attacking. I think that's their game plan. Like that's how I envision the Chiefs attacking the Ravens, controlling the clock, and I'm playing Purdy. And I never like last week I was almost all in on Mahomes. He didn't quite get there. Like that Hardman fumble really pissed me off. Um, but like he was super close to getting into like the upper 20s, 30s if a few things broke different. But like that was against the Bills and more of a I don't know. I just think Purdy has such a cake matchup. Like he just has to do so little. He just needs to get
Yep.
the ball into their hands and just let them go crazy. And that's what's gonna happen.
All right. Well, moving on to running backs. You got 5 to choose from, 6 to choose from, 5. 1, 2,
Yep.
3, 4, 5, 6. If I mean maybe 7. Nick wants to play Dalvin Cook again, but
Yeah, I have 6 in my
course.
pool. But like I guess we'll start at the obvious guy, like McCaffrey. I locked him into 100% of everything last week, considering doing it again.
yeah, I think especially if Debo is very limited in the pass game, I think he gets there by the pass game this week. I don't think it's by the run. I think it's by the passing. I think he gets anywhere between like he's probably gonna get anywhere between like 10 to 11 targets, I would assume. He probably catches like 7 or 8, gonna guess, for about 87 and 2. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh
Stats.
my God.
Receiving only?
Yeah, I think
So.
I think
Corey's got McCaffrey at a 27-point base projection before he even has a rushing yard.
You
I
guys are
think he-
wilding out this episode. You guys are
I
wild.
think he has.
Alex doesn't know what to believe.
Don't put
What is
me in
going
his
on? Am I
category.
being punked right now?
No,
No.
I think he breaks a long.
I like your take on the receiving, but that would, I mean, I love it. Like I think he is heavily involved in the receiving game, but that was quite the projection.
I think
Go
he
big or
breaks
go
a-
home.
I think he breaks a very long screenplay. I think he does. I think that's how
I love his
Take that to
his
hit that
receiving.
number, Corey.
I'm gonna bet it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna make literally one parlay where it's 8 receptions plus 80 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns.
Oh,
I'll ride with you. I like that.
I think he's scoring a receiving touchdown. I do think he gets 5+ receptions, 50+ yards in the air, for sure.
Anyone else like anything?
Well, yes. I mean that's so McCaffrey's just like the obvious, but then it's like, okay, to me, this is like a max one Hill. Like you're not playing Hill and Edwards. You're not playing Gibbs and Montgomery. I mean, you can, but I don't think this is the spot to do it. So let's first, before we get to Pacheco, like, is there a Raven running back you prefer, and is there a Lions running back you prefer?
I like Gibbs to Montgomery just because I think you have to beat San Fran outside. Their pass rush is pretty good with Nick Bosa, obviously. So I think that lends itself better to checkdowns and a little bit more passing scenarios for him.
Trailing game script if you think they're playing from behind.
Yeah. But they did look a little vulnerable last week up the middle. So
Oh no, that's the thing.
You know?
49ers are vulnerable to the run.
yeah. So I just like Gibbs just from a fantasy perspective, but I think Montgomery could have a nice day too. I actually like both of them more than either of the Ravens running backs.
So, but what if you had to pick a Raven running back, who would you pick?
Probably Gus Edwards, but
Yeah, same. I would pick Gus probably over Hill just because of he
Goal
still
line.
just
gets
because if
that
they
goal line work.
the goal line work and if they try to do the same thing the Bills did in limiting Mahomes' opportunity, they're just gonna run Gus Edwards like crazy. So
And it's direct. If you are fading Lamar in a lineup, he's like direct leverage off that.
yeah.
Alex, what's your say?
I like Gibbs, and I'm leaning Justice Hill. He just sees the field more than Gus Edwards does, and he's involved in the passing game more. So like I get the goal line piece and like him being able to run one or two short ones, but I just think Hill gets more opportunities, and is almost 1,000 cheaper. So I think it makes it easier to fit CMC in and every other lineup too.
Definitely does. Yeah. I'm on the Edwards and Montgomery train this week. I think what the Lions are going to want to do. I mean, I know they're if it's going to be a game where they have to throw the ball a lot, then this is going to really hurt me because Gibbs is obviously the passing back. But you saw what Aaron Jones did against them. He was absolutely running rampant over them. Montgomery's the more physical runner up the middle. Gibbs is obviously the flashy play. I think Montgomery at what 800 less is just a better play in terms of pricing. Unless Craig Reynolds somehow steals another goal line touchdown, which I thought it was Josh Reynolds, and I was so excited. I'm like, why is Josh Reynolds in the backfield running a ball? Because I had Josh Reynolds last week. Turns out Craig Reynolds. I don't think they're related. That was the only time the guy saw the field, maybe besides special teams. So I think Montgomery he's a candidate to get one or two on the goal line as well. So in a condensed field of running backs, I'm looking for the basically the opportunities on the goal lines, and I like Edwards and Montgomery to get those done.
Yeah, I'm like I said on the Gus, and it's really close between Gibbs and Montgomery. But I am of the belief that the 49ers slap the Lions, so I just am more of that trailing game script, so I prefer Gibbs. But at the price, yeah, I think Montgomery's fine. But now we can get to Pacheco. Like Pacheco and Gibbs are very similar in price, and I just drastically prefer Pacheco.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Who had the running back stat last week that absolutely just um who was that? Oh, it was James Cook. His over. You guys see that in the fourth
Oh
quarter?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
only
Yeah, and he
one.
went down. He was over and went down like 7 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, then other like scrubbies. I mean, I don't
I'm not playing anyone other than those guys we mentioned.
yeah, I don't think. I mean, I know James or Dalvin Cook got in kind
It
of
would
during.
be Edwards Hilaire if I were to play any of the dust guys, like any of the cheap guys, just because Edwards Hilaire still is a little bit involved. And he'll
And
be
just
like
think if
zero ownership.
just imagine if somehow Gus Edwards got hurt and Dalvin Cook just got so much work. I don't know why.
Justice Hill would get a ton of work.
I know Justice Hill would too, but I can just
You have to understand, Dalvin Cook is 4,200 and Hill is 48.
no,
Like
I know. I'm
maybe
not sitting
they
here saying play Dalvin Cook. I was just playing scenarios.
maybe some showdown you can play Dalvin Cook, but I think Pacheco is just set up very well this game.
All right. So we're ranking them McCaffrey, Pacheco.
Well, yeah, I mean you can have your own. I would have it McCaffrey, Pacheco, mm, Gus for the leverage. I just think he'll be the lowest owned of like all these running backs. So I just take Gus. for the leverage off of Lamar, and then Gibbs, Montgomery, Justice Hill.
That would be tilting when they run a RPO on the 1 yard line and Lamar Jackson takes it and scores.
I
Or
mean,
go.
it's not like I'm gonna be super heavy on Edwards. He's gonna be the lowest owned, but like again, and last week I was all over Lamar. Like I thought he would get the rushing touchdowns, but again, I think the Chiefs are just gonna be more focused on that and capable of stopping him. You can still
Alrighty.
get one in though.
All right.
All right, receiver.
Yeah. Receivers. Well, so you back on the St. Brown train this week, Peeps?
Nope.
No, again.
He's again the worst play of the slate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll say it again. Last week I said he was. I said he. What's that?
Scored 21 points last week. He didn't have that bad of a day.
Yeah, but in relation to like you needed McCaffrey, like my whole thing was we built a lineup and I was showing how like to get to the guys that even scored more. Now I was wrong on some guys like Diggs. I was overweight but
I mean, Diggs catches that home run ball. You're not overweight, like that
yeah,
pace.
he catches that. He's
That
gonna
was a
probably.
fluke.
But Amon also scored like right at the end, and like I still don't know if he was needed in the winner, but it was a lower scoring week, so maybe he was in there. I don't know. I just think the way the 49ers play defense, they're going to be all over Amon-Ra. Like they know he's like the biggest part of their offense. And they really shut down that middle part of the field, which is where he operates. And
I think that. Do you think that hurts Laporta or him more?
both, I don't think you should play Laporta and Amon-Ra in like the same lineup because I don't see how both of them have like a big game. Like I could see one of them having a decent game and the other doing nothing, but
Yeah.
I think they're both. You should just max one of those guys. But I like other expensive plays at their running back position, like McCaffrey, and there's Ayuk, who we're going to talk about. Like I just like some other guys way more.
Yeah. And I
Yeah,
think it's easier to get different at wide receiver,
He's going to be
on the small slate.
Amon-Ra will be like the highest owned receiver again.
Yeah. I think
you didn't
that's
need
like
him last week.
you just got to pick right in this field because like half of these units have just like no consolidated offense. Like that Ravens and Chiefs wide receiving core, like you are throwing blind darts for both of those teams.
You're going to
So
have
it's
to
like,
hit the dart this week, though. On
yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like if you have a higher conviction play, like these dart throws are way cheaper anyway. So like why pay up at wide receiver when you have more conviction on another play in a different position? So
Yeah, and
I'm
I
with
have
you
a
there.
lot of
Not
conviction
getting
on
too
Ayuk.
expensive. Yeah, I like Ayuk a lot. I like Jamison Williams.
Yeah, JMO, and he'll be.
Um, I also think Jennings, like obviously with Debo going down, he was a good fill-in, but I
You're
think
trying
that
to target their best corner, Brian Branch.
yeah, he's a safety, but
Well, yeah, he plays. He
makes
plays
like the
the slot though.
spot. Yeah. Yeah.
Nick, is your mic plugged in all the way?
Yeah, something just happened
Going in
there.
and out a little bit.
Well, he's figuring that out. Yeah, St. Brown was not needed last week in the Millie Maker. I forgot the guy actually played Lamar Jackson naked, which was
Yeah, that was the nuts and I was all over Lamar, but I usually always stack, and I should have been like a little more willing to run some naked Lamar, but
yeah. I think if honestly, if you don't want to try to bet which one of these receivers are going to have a good game, I think that's the way to go play Lamar. If I was going to play Lamar, I think that's how I play. I know it's chasing what they did last week, but it makes the most sense. I mean, it's not none of the receivers did anything. And again, in this game script where there's not really anyone to really throw the ball. And if he throws 2 touchdown passes, like, there's still other like 12 other receivers that can outscore him. So I mean, I don't think Zay Flowers does anything. I'm not going to be playing any Zay.
they will see the most Snead, and then you'll have Aguilar with Trent McDuffie. But we could see them actually running more like Andrews with likely playing well, like Aguilar just taking a back seat and they run 2 tight end sets
I
a
think
little
you're going
more
to see that a
frequently.
lot too because of the run game.
Yeah. So I think Aguilar could just completely take a back seat. Then you have one like Bateman and Odell kind of rotate in, and then you have Zay Flowers out there all the time, and then 2 tight ends, which yeah, I can definitely see them doing that more. But yeah, I mean, it's just so spread out there with the Ravens.
Yeah. I
Debo legit is going to be like 0 owned. If you like for a 2 game slate, like if you just think Debo goes out there and like he is going to be non-owned. No one's playing him.
well, I want to see what the medical report on him it looks like, and maybe some pregame film.
What if the medical report, like, okay, let's just because obviously medical reports will impact ownership. This, I think that's
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
one
whoa. I think this is a HIPAA violation.
of the if okay, if they were to come out and say he feels great, he's gonna be out there the whole game. Okay, then his ownership's coming up, and you might feel comfortable. What if they come out and say he's going to be limited in this game, but he's going to try to do what he can?
Yeah, I don't. If they say he's going to try, he's going to suit up and he's going to try to do what he can. And then on the side of what Alex says, I think they don't play him as much. I think they limit him, especially if they get into a position where they're up 14. He's not
Yeah,
going to be coming out like on every single running plays to block. He's going to be. They'll only use him in terms of like passing downs. I feel like.
yeah, yeah. I think now talking that through, I would have to get a full report that he's
Yeah.
like full go for me because I do think the 49ers beat him bad, and you're right. Like if they if he's going
Yeah.
to be limited and they get up, like they're not going to play him.
I might need to see a Dr. Jesse Morse report on
Yeah,
on his injury
we might have
before,
to send him a DM here.
yeah, and be like, hey, what's your take on Debo this week?
Debo.
But yeah, I mean, I don't if Debo's out, Jennings is gonna be extremely popular. I think that in a 2 game slate, I don't think
I don't like Jennings at all.
I know you don't like Jennings, and it was kind of the same thing with Shakir last week. And he wasn't needed for the full slate. But obviously this is a little bit different 2 game. I think you can maybe eat into some of that ownership. Um, just because I know he's against Branch, but if they're passing the ball a lot, I mean it's hard not to. But also I think this is again another week
I just
where
think at the end of the day, no matter what, I think he's fourth in the pecking order. He's Ayuk, Kittle, McCaffrey, and then Jennings. So he's fourth. Purdy, let's say, because he usually is like 30 to like low 30 pass attempts. If you think McCaffrey gets like, I'm just going off of like
no, I know. I
so,
understand.
so
I'm
McCaffrey
talking
gets 10 of the targets. Ayuk gets 8 to 10. That's 20. Kittle gets 7. That means like Jennings is gonna have to get there off of like 4 to 5 targets.
no, I get it. I was just throwing it
It's,
out there for the viewers, not just my own personal preference. I was just saying it's like
yeah.
I can see why he'd be played. And then
So the one guy that I think is going and it's finally switched last week. Jameson Williams and Josh Reynolds. Jameson Williams on these like shorter slates or just any slate in general, everyone was always going to Jameson because they're like waiting on that big game, waiting on that big. Never came, never came, never came. Last 3 games, Josh Reynolds has outperformed him, and his ownership has flipped now. Josh Reynolds' last slate was more popular than Jameson. I don't know why that wouldn't continue this week. Like J- Jameson had in his last, he had 4 targets of 2 receptions, 35 yards, 2 receptions for 19 yards, and Josh Reynolds scored. Was it last week?
yeah,
Yeah, against Tampa, he scored. The week before that, he had 5 for 80. The week before that, 5 for 44 off 7. I think people are going to Reynolds over Jameson now. And I just don't. I know it won't be like drastic, but it's like I just rather get. And I like Jameson a lot. Like I took his over on our prop show. Like Jameis is my favorite cheap play, but at the same time, he's still going to be popular. So like I still think you have to find leverage somewhere. Like we haven't talked about any like leverage plays yet.
no, I have not. which is only one.
And there's very few of them, and they're all ugly. But who's your favorite amongst the dumpster bins?
Is
And by
Tony
dumpster
playing?
bins, we're talking Ravens receivers, and we're talking Chiefs receivers.
Is Tony playing this week?
He is.
He is.
Yep.
Hmm.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But
Hmm.
who are we doing? Because
Look
again,
no
this is
further
Slate. If you
than
play a cheap, if you do not play, unless you're playing Clyde Edwards-Helaire or you're playing Elijah Mitchell or Dalvin Cook or like Charlie Kolar, like the third tight end for the, unless you're playing someone like that, you are going to have to win the slate with a low owned receiver, and that's going to come unless it's a 49ers guy like Ray McLeod or Ronnie Bell. But if Debo's playing, like then they're the fifth guys. I don't see how they get there. Chiefs and Ravens are going to be out on the field all game. One of them is probably gonna. It could be like 8 points in there in the winner or 7. Who
I think
do
there's
you guys like?
one obvious choice, and he's a few. So this is under, we'll say like under 38K. So no, Nelson Aguilar and below.
Yeah.
There's one guy, Hall of Fame potential, Donovan Peoples-Jones,
Okay.
DPJ.
Don't hate it. I don't hate it. Like,
Complete legend, hometown hero.
you know, it's funny. I actually
My call.
I actually X'd them out, but like the way I explain how they need to attack the 49ers, like I could see them just like being like, we need to work the outside and dial one up for them.
Yeah. He actually has playoff experience with Baker. He has like some of the highest catch rate percentage. I think it was last year, he might have been number one in like catch rate. So I don't know. For a flyer, like I kind of like him if you have to pick a Detroit guy.
He's someone where you could solo win the millie too. You have everything else
Yeah,
right.
like I don't think anyone's gonna play him.
No.
So you throw him in the pool. Like he's better than like anyone else down there. Like maybe I don't know. Like does Mecole Hardman get benched after that fumble?
No, the thing is they still need him. But yeah, I mean,
Or does Tony just completely take over and like
possible.
Hardman screwed up and like he just doesn't see the field?
Yeah, but so Justin Watson is 3,300, but he'll probably be like 10-15% owned. Like these guys are gonna get Rashad Bateman, he'll probably like 20-30% owned. And that's like low. MVS
Get some good catches.
It's so tough. Like I don't even know. But I like your little DPJ call. Like again, he could just literally not see the field, but like he's the type of guy that could just win you something.
Yeah. I mean, my player pool under that's like him, Tony, Watson, MVS.
Maybe it is Tony. Maybe Tony's the guy. It might just
it.
have to be Tony for me, like as my
Don't do
favorite
it.
Chief play.
They have to like
Just because, like, okay, like Bateman, just like looking at early ownership, he's gonna be like one to two of these guys, the ownership will gravitate towards because people are gonna have to play one. And they'll be like, okay, Bateman at least is like on the field, or Aguilar. I could see Aguilar because he scored.
He's
So
been doing well.
it'll be like Aguilar, Bateman, Watson because he sees the field. Like I'm just like, okay, well, all these guys could just be dust. So let me just get the low. So I'll go to Tony. I'll go to Hardman again. Why not? But Tony might just be the guy because we know
What
that.
about like Richie James?
no.
No, not Richie. Just Tony
Just
with
the
Tony
kick
back,
returner.
not with Tony back.
All right. Just had a check. No
Rich
Duvernay, punt return touchdown.
Duvernay? No.
Devin Duvernay.
Yeah, no.
No.
I think he
I
has.
think-
Ooh, we could count this. He has like 8 points on the year.
Yeah.
7 points on the year.
Yeah, no, I think I will go. I think I go Tony just because everyone in that locker room loves him. They want him to succeed. I think it's going to be Tony. So I
They
think,
do.
yeah, everyone loves him.
Like see a big Kansas City guy.
He seems like it. Everyone in the locker room. That's what Travis says. Everyone loves Tony. You can go back to that big dog. Keep going back to him. So I like the Tony call.
Okay.
Hardman. I like McCole Hardman, and then I just don't like any of the Ravens receivers. So
Yeah.
that's just me.
And one of them will probably get there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like MBS catches a bomb for some reason.
yeah, MBS just because he has the downfields threat. But I would say, yeah, you just need to get one of these guys in most lineups. Otherwise, like if Jamison Williams is the cheapest you go, and that's like your like, and you're just you're splitting it literally like hundreds of ways. Like you have no chance of winning it um by yourself. So, all right.
Is
I
Marlon
will
Humphrey
shout
back?
out I'll shout out Odell super quickly just because like for like a mid-range guy that won't be super popular just because Zay Flowers will probably see a lot of Snead. Could run. I just don't know how they don't in this matchup if they're playing man coverage get Odell more involved. Like you would think that they would have to like specifically. I don't know. I don't know. I
Yeah,
think they.
maybe we were weak early on it. Maybe it's
Yeah,
just
exactly. Maybe they've just been like, okay, we're saving them for the NF. We're saving them for the conference championship and
they
Super
have to. I
Bowl.
mean, there's nothing else after this, so
Yeah,
maybe it's Super
this
Bowl.
is the spot that I think they would. It's the Chiefs. Like, like you're gonna have to bring out all the stops. I think they. I think so. Odell, I'm just gonna give like a small shout out to, but I hate doing that. But we
Full shout out. All right,
limited limited slate here. All
double
right,
tight
tight
end,
end.
double tight end week again.
Really? I guess a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit for me.
I think you could still play Likely.
I'm not touching likely.
Really?
No,
I likely won't touch likely.
I
What
most
are you going to
certainly
play,
won't
Zach
touch likely.
Ertz?
I won't
No.
touch Zach Ertz. I like George Kittle.
Okay.
Alex, you like any? You like Andrews, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrews and Kittle are the best two plays. I don't like Laporta's
No
matchup.
one will play Andrews, so
Yeah. Um, don't love
I
Laporta's
don't like
matchup,
Kelsey.
and yeah, Kelsey's in a tough spot as well.
Yeah, those linebackers are
Yeah.
Roquan.
Laporta, like tight ends have had like volume success against 49ers, but like it hasn't like they can get there off of strictly receptions
Hmm.
and yards alone, especially at like a 5,400 price tag. Like I'm trying to think of some guy like Trey McBride had like I swear like 10 receptions for something against them. I think Hawkinson had a lot of receptions against them. Like tight ends have had some volume just because, but then they just like get tackled immediately because they just
I mean, he
don't.
had the volume last week. Laporta did.
Yeah, so like
No, because
Laporta is
the
someone.
Bucks have good. The Bucks have good linebackers
They
too.
do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so like Laporta is someone that like at 5,400 I will include for like a flex play over, but Amon Ra, I just at his price don't see how he pays it off. But Laporta, I could, so I will have some Laporta. But Kittle, I think far and away the best tight end play.
I love Kittle. He's won me a lot of money in the past, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
that Kittle is one guy that I seem to like be on the correct side of more often than not. There's some players that never am, but Kittle is.
Josen Anderson.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever on the right side. Well, I
No,
guess the
no, he's
right
had
side
good
is
games.
not playing him, and most people don't do that. So you're right.
Oh, we did. We
Yeah, we did. So we
consistently
were all
played him
wrong.
8 times last week. I felt like, and he was always in the player pool. But all right, let's get to building some lineup or a
Yeah.
lineup.
Start with the obvious. Purdy. Nick, are you going to join us?
We lost them. All right. Birdie. Oh, didn't mean to do that.
Ayuk
Yeah. Here we go. Ayuk CMC.
and
Yeah,
maybe
you
Kittle
can.
and Kittle
Yeah.
and 49ers defense.
Just an
I do think
onslaught.
that the 49ers are still like my favorite defense, I think as well. Them are the Chiefs, but I think I'd rather bet against Goff.
And then we can get like Jameson Williams in
Yeah,
this.
Jameson. All right, so second running back. we go and so we don't have a Chief or Raven in here yet. We've kind of just done that one game. Do we want Pacheco, Gus, Justice? Like who would you guys vote? I'll start with Pacheco.
I know Alex like just,
Justice.
and that gets a little bit different in
Yeah, I
terms
mean,
of.
let's see what receivers are left if we add in a Pacheco.
We are gonna have to get a dustbin still. Remember, like someone to get leverage. So we still need to get a 3 to 4K Raven or Chief.
So
Well,
this is where you
you'd have
go
to,
Odell
yeah, you could do Odell here.
or MVS.
I'm
You,
fine with Tony. I'm fine with
you'd have to do two of these guys because if you take Odell here, you're gonna be left with 44, and then it's gonna be saving salary 45.
yeah. So it's Odell's probably not the right guy in here. It's probably a super cheap guy, and then you can get a 5K guy. You'll be able to get a cheap receiver, and then either like Montgomery, Gus Edwards, I don't know, Flowers, something like that.
Montgomery would be it, or Laporta. You could
Yeah, it
do
would be Montgomery, Laporta.
Okay, very nice. Yeah, just do that one, Lamar.
You wanted to, we'll let Alex lead that one since he likes Lamar the most.
Give me Andrews.
Andrews is already decent leverage.
I think you could just do that.
Yeah, I think that's probably about it there.
Well, the Lamar teams will. Some of them. I mean, it's not like Andrews when he is played will be paired with Lamar most often.
But I know, but if you're only doing those two,
It's
so you
just a
still,
single stack.
so
It's
yeah,
just
so Andrew scores 2 touchdowns, Lamar scores 2.
No, but
That,
I'm saying this. You don't have to stack another. I'm just saying it's not
oh
unique enough. Still,
yeah. No, I know.
Lamar builds do get a little tough, but defense. I mean, sometimes you just throw in. Well, unless you like the Lions, probably the 49ers.
Yeah. Uh, Ayuk still.
Yeah, man, Ayuk is such a just
Him and CMC are just
smash play.
have to.
I'm considering locking Ayuk into all lineups, like just and McCaffrey.
Or you could also play this lineup as Justice Hill catches a receiving touchdown, since you like his over on receiving yard. I mean, I know his receiving yards.
I mean, I like it over 12 and a half. I'm not saying he's going to put up
Chris McCaffrey's stat line.
yeah, he's not putting up a 102 line. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying though. How it starts to get a little tough here because of Lamar's price.
Yeah, that's like I literally projected Lamar like higher than like most projections would ever project. Like 25 for just a base projection is very high,
Just
and
tough.
even and I even run the optimal with like 50% projection, 50% ceiling, and even with Purdy at 21, 22 or whatever, I'm just getting so much more Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you could
Yeah,
do.
you have to go with. Yeah, I mean it works. Like, yeah, you still got
like that,
with
but
getting MVS in there. MVS and Andrews and Montgomery. That combo of those three will be very unique.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's. I don't really feel like building a Mahomes or Goff lineup. Is just because unless you're on Mahomes, PB.
No, I'm really not on Mahomes. Like I think the Chiefs win, but I just don't think Mahomes will need to do like I think it's gonna be a lot of clock controlling.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think you get even more. I mean, I know you like the. I think you play almost the Chiefs defense here.
I'm fine with the Chiefs too, but again, like the onslaught could be semi-unique. Like
Right, it's a way to get a little bit different while still playing chalky pieces. Is having all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really Xing any of the teams out here, but I think the 49ers have the most likely chance to get a last second interception from Jared Goff.
Yeah, like one of those games where like I could literally see
Yeah.
them just destroying him, and then the garbage
It's
time is
almost just
so
like a
good.
matter of price for me
Goff,
on
you should
defense.
probably bet Goff over interceptions like it's happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so then second running back again. I vote Pacheco, but I'm literally fine. Justice Hill is one that I just really don't like. I know you like him, Alex, but you like his
That's okay.
receptions over, but um I just don't like him in DFS, but
Yeah,
I'm fine.
it's tougher.
I
in
think you
defense.
take I think you take Gus here in terms.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe play both, but this would be like you said, leverage off Lamar.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
then you play the Jameson Williams,
the Jameson.
D Jameson.
the JMO.
And then we got to get our. We already played our. So let's get a chief. So are we're playing Hardman, Tony, MVS,
If
Watson.
if you do Hardman, can you get Pacheco as well?
I don't really like playing Pacheco, and I mean it's a 2 game slate, so they can definitely both get there. But
Yeah, you
like,
can.
oh yeah, it
I was
does.
just curious.
So you can get
So,
from any of these secondary Chiefs receivers with Pacheco in this lineup.
okay.
Should we? I'm wondering if how much Montgomery's only 100 more expensive than Gus, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you just want to put him in there?
Yeah, and that leaves you with Tony.
Yeah, Watson or Tony, but Tony will be lower owned, most likely.
So
All
gross.
right.
So gross.
Copyright, 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 copyright.
There we go.
Look at this alien. This is for sure an alien.
Hey, he's explosive, and they gotta bring out the whole playbook for these games. So, all right, that'll do it for our conference championship episode. We have one more game, the showdown slate for the Super Bowl. My favorite slate
It's
of the
kind of
year.
sad. It's a good year though.
Sad. So
It's a
sad.
great year. So we'll be back for that. I think we might all be in person for that one, or I mean,
Yep.
I think we
Probably
will
not.
be. That's the only way we'll be able to film it.
Yeah.
we
And then we
get
have
2
to just
weeks.
wait till free agents or re-signings, and
Yeah.
we'll have a lot of draft content this off season. So
Then back to baseball.
that's right.
It never ends.
It really doesn't end. The
All
games
right.
end, but
That'll do it. Please leave a like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.